January. I came to Holyford for some quiet today, and though broken periodically by helicopters and cars, I found some peace here. The branches of the bare trees sway in the breeze, and the wind soothes through the old brambles and ferns. I feel the breeze as a chill across the cheek and nose, rising and falling with the hissing of its movement through the trees. And the birds are silent and still today, giving way to the wind and the sounds of human busyness finding its way down into this little haven of wild. The silence of the birds might be telling. I think rain is coming. February. A pair of blue tits chase each other through the hazel shrub, which is laden with extended yellow catkins. Bird calls are almost continuous, the machine gun sound of blue tits, the up and down lilt of great tits, crows and rooks cawing. The sun is on my face, in my eyes, a blessing, and the wind a cool breath on the cheek. The damp has left a shine on all the leaves, mirrors for the sunlight, so that every holly tree seems to dazzle, and the old brambles of last year seem new in life again. Spring may not be precisely here, but it is within view. All has a feeling of turning to the good. March. There seems to be a collusion of coverage among young spring plants, such as cleavers, bluebells, dog's mercury, wild garlic, and opposite-leaved golden saxifrage. They coat the decaying litter of last year, before anything more competitive can establish. Share yet crowd, and where there was brown before, let there be only green, and the occasional scarlet of an elf cap. Now it is just a relief to see so much green emerge from the greys and browns of winter. There's a peace in the woods between bursts of enthusiastic birdsong, and there's a certainty of spring's presence, rather than February's tentative hope. April. All the hallmarks of spring in the woods today, copious chiff-chaff song, and the first of the bluebells. A vibrant green carpet of wild garlic, golden saxifrage. The archangel and bugle are up. I found a town hall clock in flower, and the white of wood sorrel. Some oak out, birch, most smaller saplings and shrubs such as hazel and hawthorn. Ash trees are not even close to leaf. Went to the pool, saw a diving beetle in the tadpoles. I was delighted that the pool hadn't dried out. Most of the paths are now compacted and dry. Last year's leaf litter just fragments of twig and dry tattered leaf. May. I don't think I've ever seen Holyford so alive and green, but I could be wrong. I might see this every year and just forget after a winter of brown and grey. The birdsong, though continuous, is less riotous than in April and March, a little more restrained, too busy rearing young to sing. One of my most familiar ashes looks poorly. It lags behind in its leaves, and I fear for its health. This woods is known to be full of ash dieback. Old trees, generations old, brought low by imported disease. Beech, oak, hazel, hawthorn and birch are green and healthy, and glorious as the light shines through their leaves. The breeze gets up and brings the scent of the sea from over the hills. Here you really do get a lot of fresh air. June. Tall ferns, 7-foot foxgloves, prolific stinging nettles and bramble blooms buzzing with bees. The usual spot at the benches is humid and a stifling sun trap, full of flies, some biting. All the trees in leaf now. The ash tree that I was worried about has come into its leaf at last. It isn't dead, after all. The decay of spring's flowers feeding the growth of summer. Spring is a race, but summer is a fight. Who can grow tallest? Who can swamp out the competition? Dog roses in profusion. Superb year for roses. Mine are blooming in the hedges and in the garden. Green alkanet is still flowering by the allotments on the lane home. July. Cloud, mountains of it. The warm sunshine of early this morning is just a memory. You can really see the effects of the dry spell here. Many foxgloves are completely parched and dried out. Hopefully not too many seeds were lost. The birdsong is much reduced as the fledging has finished and the molt period begins. The lack of birdsong means more traffic sounds reaches the top of the valley. Blackberries, mainly green bullets, but yesterday I picked some black ones along the footpath in town. Plump yet sharp. Too early yet for good eating. 2 big birds in the woods today. First a heron on the old reservoir, startled and flapping its huge self upward as soon as I rounded the corner. Then a buzzard, soaring low through the trees and swooping up last moment to land among the holly. August. Blackberrying. A handful of hazelnuts. Copious blackberries. Lots of flies and wasps close by. September. A dragonfly has just whirred past as I got my book ready. Robins, squirrels and lots of rooks. A time for observing the commonplace. A wood pigeon seconds that by calling across the valley. Starting to see crane flies about, and water droplets on long grasses in the morning. The first of next year's foxgloves, and the failing bracken laden with spores. A mellowness to the light, and a change to the smell of the woods, more of soil than of flower. There's wind in the treetops, but it isn't reaching down here. Here the air is still, calm with the hissing of drying leaves above. Many leaves on the turn, especially elder hawthorn, and a few branches of beech. Pause. The equinox is just past. Rapid change comes. October. Out looking for fungi. Not as much as I would have expected. Leaves still on most trees, except for the ash. Multicoloured on the beech, yellow-brown on oak, bright yellow on birch. Shrub leaves are dropping. Still mild, flowering campion, woundwort, bramble. Found next year's stitchwort leaves, growing strong. November. Full-blown late autumn in the woods. The gaps in the canopy finally revealing the bird life once hidden within. Being out with the camera now is an excitement of looking up. It's a bright, crisp day. Feels like our first proper winter day of this season. The rain's gone, but everything's still wet, and the sun glints from the holly leaves and shines the oak leaves gold. Birds chitter and coo. I hear an owl hoot from the other side of the valley. It's 1 p.m. and the sun's already halfway down to the west, but it shines down on my favourite Holyford bench as I sit here facing south. The breeze blows from the north, rustles the trees behind me. I feel winter's cool in that breeze on the back of my neck, watching the birds feeding on the burdock seeds, sprouting from the warmth. I hope for a cool winter. The mildness of the weather worries me. I welcome winter's chill, and some dormancy for the plants and trees. I want the seasons to declare themselves. December. Frost on the leaf edges, the path edges, the grass. All clear areas touched with white. Dewdrops frozen solid onto grass blades. In the woods, less frost. Dry paths coated with freshly fallen autumn leaves. Those that the trees held on to for far too long this year. In the meadows, flocks of mixed birds feed together, seeking among the horse droppings on the frozen ground. In the woods, woodpeckers, bullfinches, blue tits, robins and chaffinches busy in the hazel and bramble. The woods are very quiet, just the sound of the stream and the occasional rook caws or flustered blackbird warnings. Watch the redwings feeding on the hollyberries. There must have been at least 20 flocking around the heavily laden tree. I think about the desperate strategies the birds face to keep fed in the dark of midwinter. I'm cold despite my 2 hats, 3 jumpers, 2 pairs of gloves and thick socks. I'm grateful to have a warm home to return to today. Thank you so much for listening. Next year I'm going to be going to a new location for my nature journaling, and you can follow along with that here on YouTube and in more detail over on my Patreon, where you can learn more about nature journaling too. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.